welcome to another episode of the HomeTown podcast, where we learn more than we're taught and we know more than we have heard. So fasten your seatbelts and get ready to learn something. Today, our special guest is Dawn Romano, and welcome, Dawn, to the podcast. I hope you'll be comfortable and we'll get through this. No, just kidding. I just know that people come on this and it's the lights and the camera and everybody gets a little nervous, but it's a series of episodes that we're putting out there that we're trying to introduce our employees to. Number one, our customer, the public in general, and believe it or not, almost invariably, another employee is going to learn something about you that they didn't know before. Because we just don't really discuss this kind of stuff, right? We get to work. We get to, we come to work and we unfortunately get in our little work zone, and then that's it. That's the only discussions we have. I mean, we'll talk about our children or something like that, but we don't really go back. They don't know anything about where you came from, where you're born, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So what I like to do is just ask a few questions to kind of, facilitate the conversation, keep it moving, and learn what we need to learn from you. So the first question is, where are you from? Where's your hometown? Where'd you go to high school, or where'd you go to school? High school primarily. And just general information like that.
My mother loved to move. I went to 10 different schools.
Wow.
And then I finished 3.5 years at Pinson High School. So we lived all over Birmingham area. Actually in Jasper for a while. That was where my mother was from. Uh-huh. But, Pinson, I always call Pinson home. That's where I graduated high school in 1977, a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, I have a similar... It's interesting that you say that, because my father, he was in the finance business, which we're going to talk a little bit about that, I know, in a minute, but he was in the finance business and they moved you a lot. And so, and this would have been middle 60s, late 60s. Mm-hmm. And a lot of things you could rent furnished. So you didn't have, to get a moving van, right?
Right.
Dad always joked that he moved in the trunk of the car. Clothes, one TV, and that was it. And then we were off and running. So he would pull the classifieds every week, look and see if there was a cheaper place to rent. We packed. And next thing I know, I'm in a different school system. Now we're all worried about school system.
Yes.
So you kind of had a similar situation,
yes.
Sounds like.
Yes, very much so. It made it where you had to make friends easily. Because you're constantly the new person. Yeah. So, my mom, she loved change. I mean, we'd come in, she changed furniture around like several times a month. So I think, she would wheel and deal and trade with her friends. They traded houses. She just loved a change.
Yeah. It's amazing that, that kind of something like that. Dad was very similar, not about the trading, but certainly about the changing. Mm-hmm. And he got bored in the same place. So, okay, let's go. And Mother, of course, just went along with it.
Right.
But, that's interesting that you'd had that same experience, because, we lived in, I don't know how many houses in the time frame until we moved here. Yes. It was an easy thing to do, and it was something that we all did. Mm-hmm. And we were a lot more mobile than we are now. So interesting. That's very interesting. And did you pick up on that change, or did that something more that was about your mom?
I think it made me totally the opposite. Like I graduated from Pinson in 77. My son graduated in 97 from Pinson, and then my daughter graduated in 05. So I didn't want them to go through all those changes. So I think I did total opposite of what my mom did.
Yeah, that happens sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. okay, enough of that. You know,
Yes.
uh, it's a pattern of stuff that we get tired of, I think, or something. I don't know. It's just not a fit for us to be off and running the whole time.
Right.
Okay, so your family, how many brothers, sisters, any of that?
I had 2 sisters, 2 older sisters. They both live in Jasper. That became home for them when we moved there, and they both graduated there. And I was the youngest, so I had to move back to Birmingham with Mom.
So then now you have, I know, children and grandchildren. So
Yes.
I guess you might want to start with your children just to make sure they at least are a part of it.
That's right.
And first off, your husband, that's something else I need to make sure we cover.
I'm married to Joey. We've been married for 45 years, and we have 2 children. We have Clay and Sarah. Clay works for Stryker. Sarah's a nurse at UAB in the NICU. And Clay has 4 kids, my wonderful grandkids, Hayes, Cole, Ellie Scott, and Cruz. And then Clay remarried to Alicia, and Alicia has 3 kids, so that made us 7 grandkids. And that's Chandler, Hunter, and Ella. And right now we're really enjoying watching Cruz play football on Friday nights, and then Ellie Scott cheers, thank goodness, for the same team. So we get to see them on Friday nights. Hunter is playing football and going to college at Shorter University. Hayes is at Mississippi State, and he's a junior. And then Cole is at Mississippi College. So don't get to see them a whole lot once they get into college.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. There is a progression. We talk about chapters of life in here, but also there's a progression even once the high school thing's over, and then they start, I saw a difference with my children between freshman college and senior in college. Like, I saw a lot of them as a freshman, very little of them as a senior. They're kind of into that life, and that's it.
That's home for them.
Yeah, that's home. Yeah. And so you got grandchildren. I know that you have something coming up, with your daughter. So good news, I guess. And
yes. Sarah is marrying Zach Stratton. He is from Talladega, and they're getting married November 22nd. So that's where our focus is right now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's always another interesting step from our perspective, right?
Yes.
But now Sherry swears that it's different with the son because you lose. I think there's an old saying about that you lose the son.
Yeah. A son's a son until he takes a wife.
Yeah.
A daughter is a daughter for life.
For life. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Yeah. I'm finding that to be true.
Yes.
No doubt about that. So, okay. So give us some background on your, work. I know you finished at Pinson and then moved on to, I guess, work right away, or how'd that kind of go?
Yes. I did not have the opportunity to go to college. I actually, the year after I graduated, Johnny Howell was the principal at Pinson High School. And, back then there wasn't a computer you could look up. There was like cards. He went and had the secretary look up my card and find my mom's phone number because I didn't have a cell phone. He didn't know how to get a hold of me.
Right.
And one of his best friends owned a finance company in downtown Birmingham, and he had said, I need a good girl. And so he dug my card out, called my mama at work, and told her to tell me to call him. And so I went to work. That was in 1978 in downtown Birmingham at a finance company. And that's how I started loaning money, helping people.
Was that Chesterfield's?
Chesterfield Loan.
Yeah. I wonder if it's still there.
I'm not. It was probably 10 years ago.
There used to be what my dad called loan row, where there's a whole
Exactly.
row of small loan,
Yes.
Ace Loan, all this others down there.
Yes. Yes.
So you talk about an experience with real people.
Yes.
You get it.
Yes.
And very interesting. And how times change,
Right.
But you're basically doing the same thing. You're just doing it with different zeros and different
That's
type
exactly
of people.
right.
I mean, we're still deciding if that person can pay me back or not.
Right. And what a great opportunity it was for me. Mr. Braden, he was my boss there, and he had such a great work ethic. And my mom always had a great work ethic. And like traffic was so bad, I would leave in enough time to go and have coffee at the barber shop with one of the ladies who was a barber that owned it to make sure I was there on time and didn't have to fight the traffic. And he never missed work. He was just a really good person, and he's still living. He's 97, and unfortunately, he has Alzheimer's. But his daughter shares a lot on Facebook of him, and
that's great. I mean, we don't know the mentors and the influences that we're going to. And that's why I always try to really encourage people to keep their mind open.
Yes.
A closed mind to me is just another word for ignorance. And so, or another phrase for ignorance. And I really think you got to be open and listen to the people, because we don't know, right? In retrospect, you didn't know at that given time that he was going to have this kind of impact on you and be able to affect the way that you behaved at work or at any time, really. But how influential people are on us.
Absolutely.
That's a great story. I mean, who would have ever thought Chesterfield's, was that 4th Avenue?
4th Avenue and 19th Street.
19th Street, yeah. And so, how you can start right there and get what you can get by traveling the world almost.
That's right.
It's just, can't discount any of those kind of things as they come along. So you went from there to what?
I went from there to Beneficial Finance, and Beneficial sold to the associates, and I was 8 months pregnant. And they said, if you want a job when you come back after having the baby, you have a job. And unfortunately, our baby passed away, had some health issues, heart defect. And so I decided to stay home. It's the only time I've ever not worked since I was 15 years old. So I stayed home, and in September decided that I was going to go back to work. So I also worked for Avco Financial Services for 16 years. And I managed an office. First office I managed was in Jasper. And then they asked me to move to Green Springs. And so I moved to Green Springs to like a huge office that was a consolidation office. So I worked there, and then they ended up selling to the associates. I used to tell people associates did everything they could to get me.
Yeah, right, including buy somebody.
Yes. So I went to work for Synovus Mortgage, and I didn't particularly, I wasn't happy doing what they were doing there. There's a good company. I just wasn't happy with what we were having to do. And that's when I bought into Metro Loans.
Oh, okay.
In Pinson. And
so you were an entrepreneur at that point.
Yes. And it was a great experience as far as just, I've always tried to keep an eye on the bottom line, but that made it even more. So when you own a part of it. So,
yeah.
And then we started banking with HomeTown Bank. And I would go into the branch and everybody seemed so happy. And I knew Angela Henderson. And that's when I decided I wanted to try to get in with HomeTown.
Well, we certainly appreciate you taking that on. I mean, because How long have you been with HomeTown now?
It'll be 15 years in January.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, that just seems like yesterday. We interviewed in a double-wide trailer
Yes.
in Pinson. So, yeah, there are people who can run things, and there's people who really don't need to try to run something.
Right.
And not to discount not running it. It's just that it's a different talent. It's a different kind of attitude that is required. But even a different, higher level of that, to have something of your own or be the entrepreneur in charge, and get it going or keep it going, that is, like turns up the heat quite a bit. And also just, there's no downtime. You're always thinking about it. Then it becomes bigger than you and all that kind of stuff, and it's a neat thing. I mean, it really is, but it's not for everybody.
That's right.
And I try to explain that to some people and they don't quite get it. But it's great that you've had that experience too. And I'm sure that Mr. Braden's influence showed up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what you were doing on your own. Because it was his, right?
Right.
Yeah. See, that circle is always there. We just always have to kind of be aware of it. So, well, again, we're certainly proud to have you, and we're happy that you're here. And that just, is there anything that, okay, you came out of the finance company background, which, by the way, I worked in the finance company right out of junior college, and so I'm very familiar. And we had some of the same people cross paths. We crossed. It was a fraternal thing.
Exactly.
Once you were there, you were in it.
That's right.
and the same experiences. People were getting bought every day. The names changing. You were getting moved all over. Yeah. And because they were trying to find this, trying to find that. It was amazing. But you learn extraordinary things that you just can't replicate in any other business, in my opinion. Unfortunately, I think the finance company world is different today than it was then.
Yes.
And so you don't quite get that same experience. I think of the banking, the way we bank, which is primarily consumers and small businesses, it's still there some. I think they're still learning from that you can apply. You're learning about how people behave, why they behave, what they do. And I mean, the thing about the finance company is that was just so fast forwarded.
Yes.
We go fast, but we didn't go as fast as we had to in that business. So it's real intriguing, kind of thing. What was kind of thing at HomeTown that you said, wow, that's different, either good or bad or crazy? I mean, what would it be?
The thing that was different to me, or is different to me, about HomeTown is how involved we are in the community. And I don't know if it was like this for you, but in the finance business, they weren't going to spend a dime on anything if it wasn't going to make them a buck.
Yeah. And
here it's just caring about the community. When we were working concession stands and just things like that
providing service.
Exactly.
Real service that we didn't have to count.
Right.
In defense for the finance companies, they have such a fast pace, and they have to turn things so fast and so quickly, they can't really take the time to invest and wait on the investment.
Right.
And that's what we're doing, is investing in our communities as we're serving the communities. And so that's kind of more, what we do. And so it's a different environment from that perspective. And it's really something that we enjoy.
Right.
I mean, we like to know that we're having that and making that impact.
Right. It makes me proud, that I work for this company that does this.
I
really
appreciate that. We appreciate them. And I mean, again, it's kind of like building a house. You get to choose the size of the bedroom. So you get to choose what not to do.
That's right.
And I'm sure that when you took on Metro Loans, that you knew there were things that you had learned at Beneficial and Associates and Avco that you weren't going to do.
Right.
And we always talk about what we learned to do, but I would say it's at least as important to know what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes you, you get that power and not have to deal with that anymore.
Right.
And so that's kind of been our approach on the community service thing, is that it's just part of what we do. We're not looking for a banner that goes up in the top of the rafters or anything like that. We just want to be, who we're supposed to be. And that's how that all transpires. But one final question, and that is, what is it that really you enjoy about something outside the bank, after work or whatever, that you're doing a lot of right now that you're really enjoying and kind of keeping you moving?
Right now, it's planning a wedding. I don't know if that's enjoyment, spending a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that and just my grandkids and being able to be close enough to them since I moved that I can go to the ball games without having to fight an hour and a half traffic to get there. And just enjoying life in general.
Yeah. I got to share a story on Dawn that was interesting, is that, through all the experiences she's described, most of that involved an office and a desk. And when we decided to do remote, which we had to go remote to a certain extent during COVID, but after that, we kind of figured out, where is the sweet spot? Where is the thing when does it make sense for people to work from home? And you wanted to move closer to your grandchildren, closer to your family. And we said, fine, we'll just hook you up and make you remote. And, honestly, Dawn, you'd be the last one that I would have thought would have ever done remote. But now, we all adapt to that. And I've got to believe that it provides you that opportunity to see your grandkids more often, not have to fight the, traffic or the rush hour or worry about rush hour or any of that kind of stuff. So that's where it's I think that we just need to be open-minded about, hey, maybe this is the right thing to do. Maybe this works. Maybe it doesn't.
Right.
And in most cases, we adapt. So, well, thanks again for your time. I know it's very valuable, and you got a lot to do and always a lot on your plate. So we appreciate you spending the time, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of HomeTown Podcast, and we look forward to seeing you next time.